Hey everybody, Sharon here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back on Friday the 13th, grabbing the Roll Credits achievement. This is to kill Jason in a game. This is best done in a private match. You are going to need a group of 4 in order to get this done. In order to get the achievement, you also have to be on the counselor side for this, so make sure you determine who's going to be Jason and who is going to play as the counselors. A requirement towards this achievement is at least one of the camp counselors who isn't going to be getting the achievement needs to be female. So in order to simplify things, we're just going to make sure all 3 camp counselors are going to be female characters. So you should have a starting character in the form of Vanessa who will fulfill that quota. So just make sure everyone plays as Vanessa and we should be good for that. For our map, we are going to choose something small, so I recommend Pack and Act Small so we can avoid dealing with the game's 20-minute time limit. Once everybody loads in, the first order of business is to have a player phone up Tommy. So make sure you have that player check all of the cabins, make sure they are looking at the rooftops for the radio antenna. It should be denoted by a blinking red light so you can kind of spot it out from a distance. So just be thorough on this. This is a very small map, so there aren't too many cabins. Just make sure you just go down up the main road and then check the 3 in the bottom right on the side road. And then once you spot it, make sure you head on inside and look for the CV radio inside. It should be in a random location once you find the cabin, and then once inside, make sure you hold the A button next to it in order to call Tommy. That is going to take care of step number 1. Now, as this player is looking for the radio, the other players are going to want to arm themselves, so make sure they are looking for weapons. If a person happens to find a machete, they want to leave it alone and remember where it is, because it's very important that you have that machete for later. In the meanwhile, once the person who has finished phoning up Tommy is done with that, make sure they also arm themselves and meet up with the other players. I recommend using the lodge itself as a meeting spot because it's a pretty big landmark and it's going to be rather close to the center of the map. So have everyone meet up here and make sure that the person getting the achievement knows where the machete is. Once you have established all that and everyone is armed with a bunch of weapons, make sure you teleport the Jason player over and then have everyone meet over to where he spawned in. Then what you want to do is you want to make sure you have all 3 players just whack Jason until his mask falls off. So that might take a while depending on what weapons you happen to draw. Some weapons do less damage than others. The only important thing to keep in mind is to make sure no one uses that machete we happen to find. So if you happen to find extra machetes, make sure you leave the one that you are going to take with you into the final step. You do not want to have any players accidentally breaking it before that point. So make sure you articulate to the other players to leave that machete alone. Nonetheless, Jason is going to take quite a few hits to damage, especially if you draw mostly weak weapons like pots and pans, so make sure all 3 players are working towards trying to remove his mask. And of course, the most efficient way of doing that is to make sure 2 people are smacking him while 1 person is looking for another weapon, and just make sure you cycle out whenever someone's weapon breaks. Once you break his mask, the next step is to have Jason kill the person getting the achievement. So make sure you designate who is getting the achievement and make sure you communicate who that is to the Jason player and then have the Jason player kill that player off. So once they go down, they should die and then enter spectator mode, which is going to allow us to look at the other players. And what you need to do now is you need to have the designated female player do the next step. Once again, since we made sure everyone is female, anyone who's left in the game can still do this. So make sure you pick someone, and then this person needs to head to Jason's spawn point, which is his little house. So if you forgot where that is, you can always bring it up on the map. Just have the Jason player hold right bumper and B and make sure they look for the Jason spawn location. It should be pretty obvious. It can only appear in 3 possible locations on this particular map. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you have the female character head over to that location, and then once they are there, they are going to look for the front door and head on inside. Then head to the back room. There should be this monument to Jason's mom. Make sure you go up to it and then interact with it from the front. You should put on her sweater. Again, only available to a female character. Also, make sure you grab this axe on the back bookshelf right here. Once you have those 2 items, what you want to do is you want to make sure you backtrack to the centralized meeting location. Another reason I recommend Vanessa is because she has the best running stats of all of the base characters, which should make getting there a lot easier since her endurance will take longer to run out. But once everyone's back here, it is time to kill off the other player. So make sure you keep the sweater player in a safe location and make sure they do not switch out their weapons. You want to make sure they keep the sweater and the axe. Have the remaining player walk up to Jason and then communicate to the Jason player to have them get killed. Now that 2 players have been eliminated in a 3+ player game, one of the 2 players is going to have a random chance of spawning in as Tommy. Whoever is going to spawn in as Tommy is going to be the one who is going for the achievement. So if you happen to be the one who is particularly going for the achievement, you are going to have a 50-50 chance of drawing Tommy. Once you spawn in as Tommy, what you want to do is you want to make sure you go to the centralized meeting location again, and then on the way there, what you want to do is you want to make sure you grab that machete that we left earlier and we made a mental note of. Make sure you equip the machete by grabbing it, of course, and then what you want to do is you want to make sure you keep it. So, in other words, don't lose the machete. The reason for that is it has to be a machete that lands the killing blow on Jason. So, grab the machete and then meet up with the others, and then this next step is going to require a lot of coordination between the remaining 2 players. So, you are going to have both players stand in front of Jason, and once again, make sure you try to coordinate the best you can with the other player, since this is going to involve a ton of timing. So once both players are ready, what you want to have the sweater player do is they need to stand in front of Jason within hugging distance, literally right next to him. They need to press the Y button in order to use the sweater's ability, which is going to stun Jason. Jason's going to put his arms up in the air, and as soon as he does, you want to have the sweater player click in the right stick. That should equip their weapon, and as soon as they get control of their weapon mode character, they're going to hit right trigger to swing. It has to be a long weapon, which is why we grab the axe. However, it can also be a baseball bat. Jason should drop down to his knees, and then the person who is playing as Tommy with the machete has to run up to Jason and then hit the A button to do a quick time event. If you happen to get the timing right, you should kill Jason in this cutscene, and that should get you the achievement. There it is, 50 gamer score. Might take you a couple tries just to get it right and to coordinate it with the other players, but that's how you do it, and that's all there is to it.